we govern ourselves if the society around us is lawless? It's an interesting question for me because it seems like all of us, the masses, we are experiencing a lot of chaos and wrapped in chains. We limit ourselves with our own beliefs. We are limited to what local and state and federal governments and nations around the world do. And it seems like they set an example for the rest of the world to continuously stay in chaos within ourselves. And the more I thought about it, like, are we truly a nation of laws? So we're going to explore some of the contradictions, the inequalities, and the rise of some solutions. And it's pretty interesting. So stay with us. It's great. You know, I was always told that we were a nation of laws, but a lot of them are so contradictory. Which ones do you follow? And this kind of really explores the legal and moral concepts that we all struggle with inside of ourselves all the time. Sorry, we had to take a break. We're getting high. Just kidding. This is really crazy because marijuana, and there are people in jail in the United States for marijuana right now. It's illegal federally, but it's legal in a bunch of states now, including our neighbor a mile or so down the road in Louisiana. But it's still, you're under threat of going to federal prison. And the federal banks, unless this has been recently changed, which I don't think it has, FDIC, they will not insure your money and your business. And it's very difficult. Most banks will not let you have a bank account with those businesses. So you have to, it's real tricky for them. And so how do you reconcile that? Because you have the Constitution giving the states the power, but then the federal government still, so in one essence, you're obeying the law. In the next essence, you are breaking the law. That gives a bunch of mixed messages to our emotions, right? How about free speech versus hate speech? This is interesting to me because if I were to lie and said, Jim, I hate you, I guess that's hate speech. I can get locked up. I don't know. Seems kind of crazy. Well, what seems really crazy is that the First Amendment is really clear. We have the right to say whatever we want to say as long as we don't scream like fire in a theater where people are going to hurt themselves. As long as we're not causing direct damage or real threat to somebody, say whatever you want. If you don't like it, if you don't like a TV show, you don't like the movie, you don't like what somebody's saying, well, you don't have to go to that place. You don't have to listen to them. If you don't like your girlfriend or wife or husband yelling at you, you can walk out. You can. You can go. But this is interesting because our current president has made it illegal and penalizes students for their speech now. That's interesting because how can the American population allow the total destruction of our right of freedom of speech? If you're the federal government and you say it's okay, but then you say, well, on the other hand, I'm making it, I'm not going to give them money if they exercise their rights. What is really fascinating is that the First Amendment has been subverted by our federal government, who is supposed to enforce that law, will go on, as has been proven recently in testimonials from Zuckerberg and everybody else that goes in front of Congress recently that talked about these issues, that previous administrations have made them shadow ban people, have made them censor people, which is causing a lot of self-censorship where we're not able to have our freedom of speech. It's really kind of crazy. And this one's really weird, like the right to bear arms, but we have gun-free zones. How does that work? Like if you're a criminal, if you had some real like bad intent, right? Like you're bad and you want to cause the most damage possible, where do you want to go? You want to go where they're not armed. I want to go where they don't have a firearm if you're going to do the most damage to somebody. It's kind of interesting, because then you don't give those people the right to protect themselves. It's kind of weird. Whenever I was in high school, it was extraordinarily common for a bunch of guys to have a gun rack in our back window. And almost everybody had a shotgun, rifle, whatever. I did, everybody. I mean, almost every one of my buddies did. And nobody thought anything about it. Like it was a non-thought. It just, if you got it, and it was really common for guys to try to see who was the toughest, and we'd go get a little fisticuffs, and and then you would instantly be good friends with them after you fought, even if you lost or won. It was, either that day or the next day, y'all were, either buddies or you had respect for each other. And there was never anything like, oh, I'm going to like truly hurt you, even though we all had those everywhere. It's an interesting thing that what's happened. And so our rights, what's happening? Religious liberty versus zoning codes. This is really strange too, because local zonings, they deny permits and restrict worship on private land and even public land, all kinds of cases. I recently pointed out, maybe about 6 months or so ago, maybe even a little longer, where a Ohio preacher and a couple of preachers, it was freezing, where they were like real heavy snow, and these homeless people didn't have any place to go. The city didn't have a place for them to, be warm. So he just took them into his church, fed them, clothed them, gave them a place to stay. But the city, I can't remember the city. You can go back and scroll the videos and find it. But it is fascinating that the local government said, no, we're going to close down your church because you don't have a permit to help out these people. And then they ended up arresting the preacher because he's helping feed and clothe and help those, because he didn't have the right zoning. But that's not it's not something that is like out of the norm. It happens a lot. It's not unlike here, like the Mystics of Texas. We are currently being blocked by the local government, but the state and federal government say, yes, you're awesome. Local government says, I don't think so. You're partially okay. You're partially okay. But what's really funny about that is that some of the opposition is like, oh, you only want to do that. You only do what you're doing because you want to get away with not paying property taxes. Well, that's not true, because most people don't understand that I physically had to give up this property. Like, I cannot personally own it anymore. It either has to be in a nonprofit or goes to the state of Texas. It is for the public. And most people don't get that. They're like, oh yeah, we should blah, blah. It's okay, whatever you say. But the law is the law. So what is it that we are governed by? It's a really strange thing. How about this asset forfeiture? I recommend you don't drive around with any significant cash in your car. Like, it's a big deal. If you have $1,000, $2,000, $5,000, or you think, oh, well, I'm going to go put down this, or I'm going to go buy an ATV and that guy wants $5,000 for it. I'm going to go get $5,000 out and go pay him. You get pulled over, there's a high likelihood that cop's taking your $5,000. It's going to the local coffers. It happens a lot. Like, you can just go home, you at home, just search that asset forfeiture all the time. And then people have to go spend way more money than what it was worth in attorneys to get their money back. All the time. So you're not innocent until proven guilty. You're just guilty. And we're taking your stuff. And it is a big, big problem. And I find this one fascinating, man. I would love to know all the information that all the congressmen know before they trade. Like, you can go look at their bank accounts when they get in Congress, and then you look at their bank accounts as they've been in Congress a while, or when they exit. All of a sudden, they have grown exponentially because they have insider trading and it's illegal. If me or one of you guys, like, if you have this great public company and you call me and say, Kev, man, it's going to the moon. We're about to release this thing tomorrow. And I go buy a bunch. Well, that's illegal and I go to jail, but it's perfectly okay for our leaders. So it's a big double standard. And so what does that also tell us about governing our own selves whenever our supposed leaders govern in a way that is not healthy? Kind of subtly and right in our face tells us that we're kind of living in chaos. How about this? This is really crazy. When the 16th Amendment was passed to pay our income taxes, it was the same year that the Federal Reserve was started in 1913. There was no individual income tax. We did have a temporary one during the Civil War. But IRS, former IRS employees and others have challenged that notion because they argue that only companies are supposed to be paying taxes, not individuals. And they have won. And consequently, they don't have to pay taxes. But There are a lot of other ones, and the vast majority of people that have fought against them, they have lost. So some people go to jail for not paying their taxes in the court system, and some people win in the court system and never have to pay. So what kind of chaos is that also telling us? How do we govern our lives when we don't even know what the rules are? This one's really, really crazy to me, because the wealthy and powerful, they just do whatever they want. Most people have never heard of President Eisenhower's concentration camps. Like, it was a big deal. We had concentration camps for all of the Asians that during World War II. We had a big facility in Ruston. Like, we had literal concentration camps in the United States for American citizens that were of an Asian descent. Most people don't know that, but Eisenhower had these massive, it was well over 1 million soldiers after the war was declared over. And he starved them all to death. Starved them all to death. Like, they can do this. Kissinger can go bomb Cambodia. Hunter can do all these illegal things and get pardons when his dad says if anybody does the same thing, they should go to jail for the rest of their life. It's a stacked system against us. It's really kind of crazy. But these poor people that have nowhere to go, they're down and out in a tent. They get arrested for putting up a tent to try to stay dry. Like, what's happening? Like, people can go kill millions of people. We could have bank fraud. We can have all this crazy stuff happening everywhere, but we won't let a preacher help feed the homeless, keep them warm. We won't let, nobody will go out there and defend these guys. Like, hey, if you're the property owner and they're like disturbing something, like your business, or you can't get in your house, like if it's an issue, then that's one thing. But we have a lot of resources in this country. We have a lot of resources just with us. Like, if we knew somebody or we came across somebody that was really just down and out, well, we're going to help them, right? And I think most people are going to help. Like, most people are going to help. But what do we allow to happen? We allow these guys to go arrest them. Now, instead of being free in your tent, we're going to make you a ward of the state. Seems a little unequal. I don't know. The Fourth Amendment to protect us from unreasonable search and seizures, bye-bye. That thing is long gone, baby. But we get the information. We get stuff like Snowden and WikiLeaks and all these other things that, hey, these things are happening. Like, they know everything about us now, and there's nothing really we can do about it. Like, nothing. Like, absolutely nothing. They know your bank accounts. They know everything. And they will freeze your bank accounts. I mean, just look at Canada. They didn't like how the truckers were protesting, so they froze all their bank accounts. Froze them all. It was crazy. There was like 20 years ago, I didn't pay a franchise. Well, I did pay it. They said I didn't pay it. It was like 50 or $150 or something in Louisiana. It's a totally insignificant amount of money, right? And I had an accountant, and accountants pay it. Well, they said we didn't pay it, but they didn't give us a warning, and they froze all of our bank accounts, all of our business bank accounts. Froze them without any warning, and we couldn't figure out why. And finally, the bank was able to, the state put a hold on it. We get in touch with the state, like, oh yeah, you didn't pay that $150. And my CPA is like, yes, we did. Here's the check. And like, oh man. So there is no innocent until proven guilty. You're surveyed at everything, but we allow it to happen. So if we allow all these other crazy things to happen, what are we also allowing to happen inside of ourselves? Like, we see all the craziness and chaos and chains, and are we just dumping a bunch of chains on how we think and believe? I don't know. Y'all can tell me. I saw this sign. I had to put it in here. The town rebellion just ahead. It kind of rang to me. I liked it. I don't know if we're a country of laws. I mean, obviously we have laws, but they're so, it's rule for you, but not rule for me. And that's not a way to live, and I don't think it's a way to be healthy. Like, a nation cannot long stand by acting this way. Like, we can't do it. There's no way to do it. I think it makes the case for having smaller communities, whether you belong to any type of church. Well, it doesn't matter what it is, whether you're Christian, Jews, Hindu, whatever. Spiritual places like this. Well, I'm biased. I like this better because most churches don't grow fruit for everybody that comes out, and they don't let you have the meat and protein and places to stay and commune and come out and stay if you want to and connect to nature. I think it's healthier. I think it's a lot healthier. But we govern ourselves by our societal norms. So if society as a whole is in chaos, don't we have to have our own pockets of community that we know? Like, we know it's wrong if Dean woke up on the wrong side of the morning and he started swinging at me. Like, we would all know that's probably not a good idea, because I would not let Dean do that. It would be a bad idea for Dean. He would, first of all, he would feel bad right after. And then everybody would know, like, wow, that Dean kind of lost his mind. You know, like, there would be a societal pressure on him to not be an ass, because he loves everybody and everybody loves him. And he wouldn't want to do that, even if he felt the urge anytime. Well, I know Ricky has felt the urge all the time, and Ricky controls himself sometimes. And I'm proud of you, Ricky. Proud of you. Thanks for not swinging. I think there are a lot of better ways. You know, we got a landscaper here, and I don't know if y'all have ever seen these intentional communities where they're beautiful, whether they're the starships or the communities like this that are self-sustaining, where all the neighbors get out and they, hey, I really want to do this. Can I grow this in your yard? I have this growing in my yard. And everybody takes care of it. The elderly person can't do much, but she loves to cook. So what does she do? She cooks for the community. Like, having these small, tight-knit places, like, they exist. I don't know if y'all have ever heard of the blue zones. There's 5 of them. It's where the people live the longest. They have, like, the most 100-year-old people in the world. Well, they live real similar to that. They're very active. And one of the key points is what we do here is we get together a lot. And that's what they do. These places where people live healthy and beautiful lives for a very long time, they have communities very similar to that. And they're always with each other, helping each other out, whether you get in a bind, whether you need advice, whether you just need a ride to work. You know, like, whatever it is, that's what they do. And I think it's a great example for the rest of the world. Yeah, the mentality of this ruling class that has us in chaos is, their mindset is just like this quote, which is from the Vedas, but Oppenheimer is famous for saying it. Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds. To realize how crazy these people are, they thought there was a chance that the world was going to totally explode. The atmosphere was going to set on fire if they ignited the atom bomb. And they came up with some fancy math and convinced the guys, like, yeah, there's still a probability, but it's not big enough to probably matter. Like, that's crazy. If my buddy right here just came to me and said, man, I got this great idea. We can blow up the side of this mountain, and I promise it'll work, and we can do these things, but there is a slight chance it may destroy the whole world too. You know, I'd probably go, well, I think we're going to leave the mountain the way it is. It can be in the way, right? I think it's going to be all right. Like, who takes that chance? Like, what kind of crazy, insane people do that? These guys. Thanks, guys. Thanks for making these crazy rules and laws. And I don't care who your politician is. I don't care if it's our local guy. They're all nuts. Every one of them. They're nuts. And that's why we need community. We don't need cult of personalities. We don't need, oh, my politician's better than yours. I know him. He's such a nice guy. No. We don't need more laws. We need more morality. We need more friendships. We need more people we can count on. We need to meditate together. We need to pray together. We need to hug. We need to go skip and jump and lay in the grass. We need to be silly. We need to be laughing. And when we're too serious, we need somebody to say, hey, why don't you lighten up? You're being a prick. And then crack a joke. You know? I mean, that's what we need. Because we all find ourselves in that. But none of us want to be that big of a prick. Like, that's bad, right? It's bad. So if y'all like this, if anybody's at home and y'all enjoy this kind of stuff, we're going to be talking next week about like death experiences where people have actually died, not near death, like they were dead and came back to life. And the science behind that is pretty fascinating. And all the bonds that connect us together. But if we want to make the world better, it starts with our soul first. It starts with us on the inside, every one of us first. We can't fix the outside world. We can't fix all these crazy laws. We can't do all these things until we first work on us. We just have to work on us first. That's it. So we got to remove the contradictions inside of ourselves. And I love y'all. Thanks for joining. Happy Mother's Day. Mom, I love you. And you're welcome for me not putting that ugly picture of you up. I wanted to so bad. I love you. Bye.